Hi, my name is Catherine Smith, and I decided to do my research project on Medusa. As I did my research, I realized Medusa's story had many different versions, whereas some versions went into more detail about how she was killed, and the other one didn't give as much information. Um, so I chose Medusa because when it comes to learning about Greek mythology, Medusa's always been one of my favorite people to learn about. Just because there are different versions, and in one version, she's a beautiful goddess and then gets cursed into being a hideous monster. Um, Also, another reason why I chose Medusa is because I like I said, she's my favorite person to learn about, and her life is just interesting, and just want to learn more about her. So, as I did research, I realized Medusa was significant because she was associated with the role of women, and the fact that she was beheaded is a symbol of the wounded of the powerful women. Um, Also, I was reading, I realized there was many interesting facts that I don't know if a lot of people know. Um, well, she had an affair with Poseidon, and Poseidon was also married to Athena. And like I said, in one version, when she was cursed, Athena was the one who put the curse upon her. She did this because Medusa's beauty caught the attention of Poseidon, and she really didn't like that. Um, Also, in one version, um, well, actually, both versions, her and her Medusa and her sisters were um, Gorgons, and her sisters were immortal, but she was mortal. But in one version, they were all hideous monsters, whereas in the other version, her sisters were beautiful goddesses as well as Medusa, but Medusa was cursed. Also, one version doesn't go into much detail about how Medusa was killed, whereas in the other version it goes into more detail. Both versions say that Medusa was killed by Perseus, but in the other version it says Perseus beheaded her and that he was able to behead her without turning into stone by only looking at her reflection in his bronze shield, which I thought was really interesting. Um, Also, um, when Perseus decapitated her, almost instantly her two sons with Poseidon were born out of her neck. And as he was transporting Medusa's head to Athena as a gift, some of her blood hit the ground and it turned into snakes almost instantly. And also, once he got Medusa's head to Athena, he mounted it on Athena's shield, and that's when Medusa and her sisters were worshipped in the early Greek religion. Also, when Perseus decapitated her, Medusa was asleep, and also after he mounted her head onto Athena's shield, there was two drops of blood left, one on the left side, one on the right side, and her blood was could be used as a cure, or it could be used as a deadly poison. The drop on the left side could easily take lives, whereas the drop on the right side could raise people from the dead. Also, her lock of her hair could be used as protection from an attack when it was exposed. It could bring on a storm. Um, so, like I said, there's different versions, and both versions give a lot more detail that I go into more depth in my paper. But overall, Medusa's just really interesting. Like her life is interesting, and I really like it. Um, so doing more research just makes me want to, or doing this research makes you just want to learn more about her and just go into more depth.